Have you ever caught yourself lying awake at night, haunted by a feeling you can't name, something that seems to tug at your mind, but you're not even sure where it comes from? You scroll through endless feeds, searching for answers or distractions, yet somehow the restlessness only grows. This ache whispers that there's more, that you're missing something crucial. But what is it? Is it a call to redefine your purpose, or is it just another illusion? In this very moment, you feel that subtle weight pressing on your heart, a quiet nudge telling you things can't stay the same. Think about the last time you felt fully alive. Was it a fleeting moment of joy, a sudden spark of insight? How quickly did the feeling fade? We often chase excitement, pouring ourselves into shallow pursuits or temporary highs, only to be left feeling emptier than before. Beneath our everyday routines lies a deep hunger that small talk and quick fixes never satisfy. Why do we keep searching yet remain unfulfilled? Could there be a profound question we're all running from? Something so big that confronting it could change everything. Pause and feel the tension in your chest when you wonder, is this really all there is? That quiet voice in the back of your mind questions your routine, your choices, your sense of belonging. You might think you have everything figured out, or maybe you feel completely lost. Either way, there's a pull, an itch that can't be scratched with mere distractions. Some people drown it with constant entertainment. Others bury it under responsibilities. But somewhere inside, you know the emptiness will keep resurfacing until you confront the question head on. We've all felt that nagging sense of disconnect, like we're wearing masks just to get through the day. Deep down, we suspect something's off about how we live, but we rarely speak of it. Is the life we're leading truly our own? Or are we walking paths shaped by fear, expectation, or sheer habit? It's unsettling to realize how much we compromise our deepest urges for fleeting comfort or social acceptance. Yet the heaviness in your gut keeps asking, could you be more than this? Look around. People chase trophies, likes, promotions, yet so many still feel hollow inside. Could there be a deeper, unspoken reason behind this emptiness? We wonder if it's something beyond family, success, or even love. Maybe it's a pull to confront our own existence, a question that challenges who we believe we are. Each day that passes without addressing this core mystery leaves us a little more restless. It's almost as if there's a door in our minds we're afraid to open. But the question now looms: what happens if we never dare to look inside? Whether you feel stuck or simply curious, you sense there's a truth calling for your attention, something that demands your courage. You've reached a threshold where the same old routines can't mask the yearning any longer. So what is that great question? And why does it loom so heavily in our lives? Get ready to peel back the layers and see what lies beneath our restless minds. In the next moments, we'll reveal the hidden problem that keeps so many of us locked in this silent struggle. And once we face it, nothing will look the same. Beneath our daily routines lies a silent force, a hidden driver influencing our choices, relationships, even our self-worth. Philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche called it the undercurrent of human will, shaped by cultural expectations that corral us into predictable paths. Like an invisible puppeteer, it tugs at our strings, steering our desires while we sleepwalk through life. We sense it in fleeting moments of dread or longing, but rarely do we name it out loud. As H.P. Lovecraft hinted with his cosmic horrors, sometimes the real terror is that we're not in as much control as we'd like to believe. Carl Jung spoke of our shadow, the traits we deny in ourselves. Society praises certain virtues and condemns others, and over time we bury what doesn't fit. The problem is, this rejected part never vanishes. It festers, influencing us from the depths. Edgar Allan Poe's Tales of Madness echo this theme. Our unacknowledged darkness can slowly consume us. We sense this shadow creeping up when we're alone, that unease we can't shake. It's easier to label it anxiety or boredom, but deep down it's the voice of an exiled part of us yearning to be seen. Fyodor Dostoevsky captured this tension in stories of guilt and conflicted morality, where characters wrestle with inner turmoil they barely understand. Here's the hidden truth. We're often at war with ourselves, under the weight of unspoken expectations, and yet, when life feels hollow, we blame our jobs, the economy, or even fate itself. We rarely suspect that something much deeper is at play, a clandestine conflict between who we pretend to be and what our souls crave. This tension eats at us quietly, gnawing at our self-esteem until we either confront it or crumble under its pressure. Arthur Schopenhauer believed human life is fueled by a blind, restless will, an unending cycle of desire and suffering. We chase whatever we think will fulfill us, only to find ourselves wanting more. This endless striving can feel like a trap, a cage of our own making. We're subconsciously shaping our identity around illusions, ideas we inherited, beliefs we never questioned. Much like Sartre's existential nausea, there's a revolt inside us against anything that smells of inauthenticity, and the more we ignore this, the louder that rebellion grows. In modern times, Aldous Huxley warned of a culture drugged by comfort and entertainment, numbing deeper inquiry. We build digital worlds to distract ourselves from the gnawing sense that we're not living authentically. It's far easier to indulge in shallow pleasures than to question who we've become. Yet, with each click, each fleeting distraction, the real issue festers. Like Poe's telltale heart, it beats louder the more we ignore it. That restless churn you feel isn't mere impatience. It's the rumble of your soul echoing through the noise, demanding resolution. Jean-Paul Sartre famously spoke of radical freedom, a terrifying truth that every choice we make is ours alone. Yet we often hide from this responsibility. Viktor Frankl reminds us that meaning isn't given. It's forged through conscious engagement with life. So what is this hidden problem? At its core, it's our deep-rooted unwillingness to face our own darkness, our illusions, and the unsettling possibility that we're capable of far more if we shed what we've been told to be. This right here is the gateway to our next step, confronting the unseen consequences of living in denial. So here we stand, caught between our hidden conflicts and the reality we think we know. Have you ever wondered why some days feel like you're dragging an invisible weight? It's not just stress. It's the residue of all those unspoken battles. Our subconscious mind, shaped by cultural conditioning and buried traumas, quietly dictates our moods and decisions. Cognitive biases, like confirmation bias or the Dunning-Kruger effect, steer us to see only what we expect or want to see. We make repetitive mistakes, form shallow relationships, and lose passion for life, never suspecting that the root cause runs far deeper. Over time, those unresolved issues dim our vibrancy. They rob us of creative spark, dull our compassion, and keep us locked in cycles of self-doubt. Neurologically, the brain defaults to familiar patterns, even if they harm us. We cling to routines that shield us from pain or discomfort, perpetuating the same emotional loops. Meanwhile, our real potential lies dormant. We forget how to dream bravely because we're too busy avoiding unseen truths. This creeping numbness seeps into our work, our relationships, everything, and we don't realize we're trapped until life jolts us with a crisis we can no longer ignore. Our society doesn't make it easy to break free. We're bombarded by advertisements feeding insecurities we didn't even know we had. Cultural narratives push us to hustle relentlessly for status, fueling a quiet panic that we're never enough. The consequences? We might end up measuring our worth by numbers on a screen or the superficial praise of strangers. Beneath that performance, loneliness gnaws at us. We scroll endlessly, comparing our lives to highlight reels. Our identities become fragile, dependent on external validation. All the while, that deeper, unspoken issue remains: silently shaping our destinies. When we ignore this hidden force, it doesn't just vanish, it grows stronger. The more we deny our fears and resentments, the more they show up as destructive patterns. Maybe it's self-sabotage just before success, or snapping at loved ones for reasons we can't explain. Culturally, entire communities can spiral into cycles of prejudice or violence, fueled by collective shadows no one dares acknowledge. That's the real danger. Unexamined darkness doesn't die, it evolves. And in that growing tension, we risk losing not just our inner peace, but also the empathy that keeps society human. Think of how fear, left unnamed, spirals into paranoia, or how suppressed anger mutates into bitterness that poisons friendships and families. These are the unseen consequences of letting unconscious forces rule us. Our emotional scars become part of our identity, shaping beliefs about what's possible. We end up living smaller, more guarded lives. Moment by moment, that quiet surrender shrinks our horizons, and the greatest tragedy, most of us barely notice it happening. We swallow the discomfort, label it just life, and press on, not realizing how much we're losing in the process. But this crisis can also be a turning point. If we're brave enough to look beyond the surface, we'll see the chains that bind us and the key to undo them. As soon as we realize these unseen forces shape our reality, we gain the power to challenge them. Until that moment, though, we remain their slaves. Here's the message our mind resists. Ignoring deep truths doesn't protect us. It only buries us further. Our next step is clear. We must rebel against the illusions that keep us stuck. In the coming moments, we'll learn how. Imagine for a moment, stepping outside the maze that has kept you running in circles. Picture confronting your fears head-on and realizing they're not as powerful as you believed. Throughout history, rebels from ancient philosophers to modern visionaries have challenged the status quo, often at great personal risk. What they shared was a willingness to see beyond accepted norms, to question the truths everyone else took for granted. This is your invitation to do the same, to doubt what you've been told is inevitable, to unlearn the habits that keep you small, and to spark a revolution where it matters most, inside your own mind. Change starts when you recognize you're not obligated to follow the script handed to you by society, or even your own limiting beliefs. Nietzsche emphasized the power of creating new values, shattering outdated moral codes to make space for something genuine. If everything you knew was just a story, then you can write a new ending. This might sound radical, but liberation always feels that way. Think of Galileo challenging the church by stating the earth moves around the sun, or Martin Luther King Jr. daring to dream of equality. Radical shifts have always started with someone saying, "I refuse to accept this." Your personal rebellion might not make headlines, but it can redefine your life. First, challenge the assumption that your past dictates your future. Yes, we all carry wounds, but they don't have to determine our destiny. In fact, every scar can become a source of insight. Each painful lesson can fuel your drive to break free from repetitive cycles. Viktor Frankl showed how even in the darkest conditions, meaning can emerge. By recognizing you always have a choice, even if it's only in how you perceive your circumstances, you reclaim control over your narrative. Next, embrace uncertainty. Society teaches us to fear the unknown, yet the unknown is where transformation happens. Look at explorers who sailed off the maps, risking everything to discover new worlds. Their willingness to face the void opened doors to possibilities beyond imagination. In your life, stepping outside the familiar, trying a new path, daring to speak your truth can feel terrifying, but it's where real growth begins. Don't let your brain's craving for comfort lock you in a cage. Each time you lean into uncertainty, you chip away at the mental walls that once held you prisoner. Another key to this rebellion is challenging the constant noise that keeps you from hearing your deeper intuition. We live in an era of endless notifications and frantic schedules, drowning out the voice of inner wisdom. Turn off the noise. Practice solitude, even if it's just a few quiet minutes each morning. Schopenhauer found clarity in contemplating nature. You can find it anywhere you can truly be alone with your thoughts. Your rebellion against the status quo includes reclaiming your mental space, choosing mindfulness over mindlessness. In that stillness, you'll sense what you truly desire and what you need to leave behind. At its core, this rebellion is about rediscovering your power, not power over others, but power over how you choose to live, think, and feel. Once you realize that you're not bound by invisible shackles, you can tap into a creativity and resilience you never knew you had. You can forge new paths, escape suffocating patterns, and find a sense of purpose that feels deeply authentic. This is no fantasy. It's a bold invitation to stand as the architect of your destiny, because once you rebel against your own limitations, everything else changes. And if you dare to accept that, just wait until we reveal the ultimate truth. Look back for a moment at everything you've uncovered. Those hidden battles, the cost of living in denial, and your power to rebel against old beliefs. You stand on the cusp of a new understanding. The true breakthrough comes when you realize that nothing outside of you holds the final key. No job, relationship, or social approval. Every external pursuit was in some way a mirror reflecting your own inner state. Once you see this, the puzzle pieces click into place. The world outside can only reflect what you cultivate within. This is the moment of truth. You are your own foundation. This final realization has echoed throughout philosophy and myth. From ancient mystics to modern thinkers, the central message is astonishingly simple. Your essence shapes your reality. The illusions you took for absolute truths were, in fact, flexible constructs, stories your mind woven to make sense of the unknown. Once you see through them, you stand face to face with an unsettling but exhilarating possibility. You can create new meaning. At first, it might feel disorienting, even lonely, to hold such power, but it also frees you to craft a life guided by a more profound sense of purpose, something only you can define. In this new paradigm, your shadow isn't an enemy but a gateway to self-awareness. Your old beliefs aren't prisons, but starting points for genuine insight. You're no longer a passive participant in someone else's narrative. You're the narrator. By embracing your inner power to choose, you reshape how you experience life's challenges. Obstacles become catalysts for growth rather than roadblocks to fear. This perspective shift doesn't solve every problem overnight, but it changes the lens through which you view them. That alone can alter your path forever, turning frustration into creative energy and confusion into a quest for deeper understanding. Here's where Nietzsche's call to become who you are resonates at full volume. Every doubt you've experienced, every time you felt lost, those moments carried the seed of a greater becoming. By questioning what seemed unquestionable, you opened a doorway to authentic freedom. This is not about achieving some fixed perfection. It's about the ongoing process of self-creation. You navigate uncertainty with curiosity rather than dread. You see that your fears, once acknowledged, lose their power. They become stepping stones, each one guiding you toward a more profound sense of self-realization. This is how you fully step into your own light. It's also crucial to understand that this isn't a solitary pursuit. When you show up in the world as your true self, you encourage others to do the same. Your relationships become more genuine. You realize that compassion is rooted in recognizing everyone is wrestling with their own illusions. Now, rather than judging or battling shadows, you hold space for shared growth. This doesn't mean life becomes easy, but the sense of alignment between your inner truth and outer actions brings a peace that shallow distractions can never match. By standing in your own authenticity, You become an anchor of possibility. Now the choice is yours. Will you carry on as before, or will you embrace the truth that only you can define your reality? This final realization is both liberating and daunting, but with it comes a poetic sense of power. You can step into a life shaped not by fear but by purposeful intention. The restless longing that once haunted your nights can now become a guiding star, leading you toward deeper meaning. Let this be your call to action, your cinematic turning point. Stand at the threshold of a new existence. Look inward and dare to become the author of your story.